Good morning, traders. Richard here doing a quick Ichimoku cloud chart market review of Bitcoin. We'll start with a really big picture, the weekly Ichimoku cloud. And we can see Bitcoin, after becoming quite extended, Bitcoin is now consolidating back down towards critical cloud chart support lines. Now, the critical thing to remember, whenever Bitcoin gets too far extended from the top end of the cloud, we look at the distance between the price action and the cloud. Then it's time to lock in some profits, and then we wait for the rebound to come back to support zones. And then we swing trade back into those zones. Now, the critical thing, support zones, is the front end of the cloud, the bottom end of the front end of the cloud. There is a major support zone of 79.2222, and then the other one is also this standard line of the Ichimoku cloud. So these are major support zones: 80,800 and 79,222, give and take a few dollars. That's the downside risk target, and that's also the significant support zone on the weekly Ichimoku. Also, the other level to keep an eye on is this top end of the front end of the cloud. This entire area can also be a nice support zone, 83,177. And then we've got the other zone here right at the top end of the cloud. And let me just get the right one there. See, there's, yeah, so right there. Now, Bitcoin is testing that support zone. You can also see this week there was also a major swing trade rebound kind of support zone. So it's testing that front end, the top end of right at the front end of the cloud, around about 90,000. It's fighting hard for support there. There is downside risk to 83, 80, and 79 if that support zone fails. Let's jump to the daily Ichimoku. Yeah, we can see we are in a bearish trend right now. Price action below the cloud, that's ultimately bearish. The classic sell signal, the last major sell signal, is when it slices through the cloud like that. And then it's time to lock into profits and then wait for the potential rebound swing trade. Because what we're trying to do is buy back into Bitcoin at critical support zones. And now you can see this cluster of support comes off the weekly. So we have an idea that that's quite a significant line in the sand for Bitcoin. On the weekly Ichimoku cloud is normally an area where you buy for support or swing trade support for backup to the bottom of the cloud. So normally what we look for is kind of support to come back in here at the bottom end of the cloud here, or these cloud chart support zones, and then we trade these swing trade rebounds right back up to that resistance zone. So that's now the new resistance zone, because Bitcoin failed to maintain its support in around that zone. And now we've got these downside risk targets with Bitcoin testing this 90,000. The other two levels to watch out for on the daily is this bottom end of the cloud chart shadow. We look back to see where were significant support zones in the uptrend and if these support zones are going to come back. So right now Bitcoin is testing this 87,500 zone basically for support. So there is swing trade potential back up from this 87,000 if support if support comes back here much stronger. Then the upside resistance target would be this zone, and then if we break through that zone, then we're back in bullish territory on the daily. But bearish on the daily because price action is below the cloud, so there is downside risk towards this whole cluster of support that we now get off the weekly Ichimoku. Let's go and take a look at the 4-hour, a bit more intraday. Yeah, you can see how that support zone is now starting to act. Bitcoin is fighting hard for that support. There is still a bit of downside risk too. So swing trade, rebound trades, this whole cluster here. So you can start building a rebound trade in and around these levels to get back into Bitcoin at these support zones to capture some more profit. But you can see now every time we're trying to get past that cloud, it comes back. So it's been a solid downtrend here on the 4-hour. You can see the last really big sell signal was over here, this very violent crossing there and then trying to rebound back to the bottom in the cloud, then another bit of a sell signal because we were bearish, and now this trend is just a slippery slope downwards, and now this downward accelerated to the downside, the price action accelerated to the downside, and what we're looking for at this point in time, in and around this zone, now it's a very wide range, but Bitcoin is quite volatile, is something like that to come back. So you need to see the taps open, massive selling, you look at a lot of down candles, and suddenly you see that stronger move there. So if we get that in and around these levels, then we should get back up to the top and bottom end of the cloud there to be back in bullish territory. Now the hourly Ichimoku cloud, you can see beautiful sell signal here. Then it accelerated. Now we're a little bit extended from the cloud. So now the same argument we used on the weekly where we got too far away from the cloud, we now can use that as a rebound signal to trade Bitcoin back up to the cloud chart resistance zone. And then as soon as we back above the 60-minute chart, then that's bullish. So it's bearish on 60-minute. Bearish on 4-hour, bearish on daily, so there is the overall big picture is bearish, but the weekly is still okay, but we're heading towards those critical support zones. But looking for swing trade rebounds anywhere between where we are now as well as 80 and 79,000 downside risk targets. And that we get once again from the weekly Ichimoku cloud. So these are the levels to watch on the weekly Ichimoku cloud. Until next time, happy cloud chart trading. Bye for now.